Hey guys, Larry with the L&M Homestead. I hope that everyone had themselves a great Thanksgiving and got to get together with some friends or some family and just have a good time. I ended up going to Wisconsin and spent Thanksgiving with my mother. She has a condo now that she had bought. She sold the farm and she moved into this condo to be in a town, a little bit easier access to things, and a lot less work. And there's like all these, it's like a whole division of these condos, and they have like a main pavilion building that you can rent for events and stuff. And so she rented that because we used to have it at the farm, and we had Thanksgiving out there and the whole family joined together, and I think there was 26 people were there. Had a good time, did all that. I actually ended up going down there the day before because I needed to pick up a certain something for this. I also needed to pick up steel for the I-beams that are going to go into the temporary housing, and just some different lumber things and a couple other things, a couple things from cats and stuff. The fluid that I need for the final dries, all different stuff like that. So I went down the day before and did all that run around. The wife was not able to join me. She was actually had to work because she works for the government, and because of the shutdown, she lost all of her vacation. And she's having to make it up right now. So she had to work till 5 o'clock on Wednesday night, and then she had to work at, I guess, starting at 7 o'clock on Friday. I thought it was 8, but it was actually 7. But the messed up thing about it is up here in the UP, we had a big snowstorm, and it was really super windy and everything else. And Wednesday, the power went off in the morning, and the power didn't come on until night. So she didn't have to work. Things happen. They had a good time. The kids are up here and stuff, and they did a Thanksgiving dinner. And they sat around telling stories and everything else and just enjoying each other. So I made it back home late last night and got a little bit of snow cleaned up out at the land and everything, so I could back my big gooseneck trailer in there and everything. And then today I've been actually working in the garage, cleaning the garage because my tools were just scattered throughout. Got everything all cleaned up, and now I'm going to start working on this project. So I will show you what I ended up running to Wisconsin to pick up. So this was my mom and dad's lawnmower. This is an Cub Cadet XT3. It has a 25 horsepower Kohler engine in it, power steering, has a hydraulic lift for the deck and everything. It's a very nice lawnmower. They had another big Cub Cadet, and something let loose inside the motor, and they decided to go out and get another one. And this is a company down, this Shruggy Brothers down in Mount Calvary. It's an implement place. They sell cars too and stuff, but it's in a town close to where the farm was, and they've always dealt with these guys and they've always done well with them. They ended up buying this lawnmower, and I think they used it for a total of 2 years. And my dad passed away and everything, and then my mom decided to sell the farm and stuff. So as she was going through everything, she said, you know, hey, somebody should take that lawnmower. And she came to me. Well, I had that Craftsman lawnmower that I put the brand new motor in it, and that thing worked great. And there was no problems with that thing at all. And it had a big snowblower on it and all this. And I had, and I was like, I don't really need it. See if somebody else needs it. Well, everybody in the family, nobody needed one. Most of my brothers are actually, they're, what do you call it, snowbirds now. They're going south for the winter. They're selling their snowmobiles, and they are not even up here. But none of them really they don't have big lawns or nothing that they need a big lawnmower for. And so I was like, I don't know. And then I had 2 other lawnmowers down there. One was my parents' old one that was the same exact size, that something let loose in the motor. That was down there, and I told them I'd take it. I was actually going to rebuild the motor or something like that and figure out what was wrong with it and fix it, because it's a super nice lawnmower. And then I had another smaller Cub Cadet, and that motor blew up. And I pulled the motor out, and I was just going to order a new motor for it and pop it in there. Well, when we went to go clean in the farm out, my brother was all about let's just throw everything away, let's get it out here, scrap it, and move on. And he was going on and on about all the stuff laying around there. And he's like looking at these lawnmowers. He's like, let's throw them in the scrap bin. And I was like, well, I was gonna fix them up. He's like, you ain't gonna get time for this. Don't mess with it. And he's like, just take mom's lawn. It's a brand new lawnmower. Take that one. Forget it. I was like, oh, I don't see the purpose in it. Finally, I was like, whatever. And we threw away these other two Cub Cadet lawnmowers, threw them into the scrap bin, and I told my mom, fine, I'll take it. So I was going to take this lawnmower. I came up with a load of stuff, and then my daughter and my son-in-law, the drunk carpenter, they just bought a brand new house, and they have a pretty good sized lawn now. And they got a decent sized driveway. It's not huge. But then Tyler came up to me and said, hey, he knew we were cleaning out the farm. He goes, is there any lawnmowers out there that I could fix up or something like that out at the farm? And I was like, really? So we just threw away two of them. And I sat there thinking about it, and I said, tell you what. I says, I need to come down there, and it was my last trip. I was going to be going down to the farm to haul stuff up. And I says, I'm going to bring a trailer down there and everything because I'm taking my mom's lawnmower. I'm bringing that one up here. And I says, I'll tell you what. I got this Craftsman's lawnmower that I have, this riding lawnmower that I have up here. He's seen it. And I said, it's got a snowblower and everything else. And I says, you can have it. I'll gift it to you. I'm getting this one. I'll gift that one to you. And he was like, it's got a snowblower? He was all excited. I said, yep. So I hauled that down there and I gave it to Tyler. They actually didn't even have a lawn because it was a brand new house and they had to do all the landscaping and everything else. That didn't get done until almost the end of the year. I think I was down there for my granddaughter's birthday and he asked me to help him put the deck back onto it because he didn't know how to do it. So I helped him put the deck onto it, and he cut the grass one time. He only got one cutting, and before the winter came here. So now he's got a lawnmower. He's got my old Craftsman lawnmower, and I got this one. And when I got this one, I thought, okay, I'll get a snowblower for this one and fix this one all up. So that was the plan. Well, I kind of forgot about it. About a month ago, I went, oh, snow's coming, and this house here, we don't have a snowblower. So I'm like, we should get another snowblower to go on the front of this lawn tractor, because when we move onto the land, it'd be nice to have the little small snowblower. You can run around the garages and the shops and all that stuff. You know, I got that big dump truck with the plow on it to clean up everything, but this would be nice to go around in tight spaces. So I was like, we should get another one. So I started doing some shopping around and everything, and I figured Cub Cadet. Well, I looked online. They don't make this XT3 anymore. They only made it for a couple years. And they still make the XT1s and XT2s, but they don't make an XT3 anymore. And this has got the power steering and all this stuff. It's a bigger, beefier tractor. And I started looking at the decks or the snowblowers. I couldn't find one that actually fit. The Cub Cadets, nothing says it fits an XT3. I looked online, I looked on YouTube, I looked all over the place, and I was like, I don't know. So then I started calling around, and I actually called Schrage Brothers on Mount Calvary because they know this unit and everything. And I talked to them and explained what I wanted to do, and he's like, well, what's your budget? And I'm like, I don't know, I'd like to keep it under $3,000. And he goes, well, the Cub Cadet one will work. He goes, but it's really bad. And he goes, there's a lot of problems. We've had a lot of returns, bearings going out of them. The metal on the sides actually wear right through. He said, it's not a good unit. He said, what I would do is I would go with Bercomac. He says, they're out of Canada. And he says, they got a really nice snowblower. And he goes, I believe they make it right for this unit. So I looked up Bercomac online. I contacted him, talked to them people, told them what model they had and everything else, and they said, yep, we got a unit that fits right to that model and everything. And they gave me a price on it, and I said, well, hey, I'm kind of like on YouTube. You want to do something here? And they said, no, we don't do that. We don't do anything like that. I said, you're welcome to make a video, but we don't do anything. And I said, okay. I said, well, how can I get one coming? He was like, dealer only. So I contacted, I looked around, and there was a dealer that was over in Marquette, which is 2 hours away. So I contacted them. They transferred me to the person who deals with the Bercomac. It was a voicemail. I left a voicemail, what I needed. I had the model number and everything for the snowblower. and said, give me a call back. I said, I need to know the price and availability. He called me back a little while later. We talked about it. He wrote everything down. He's like, okay, I'll contact him and I'll get back to you. And I said, I just need to know what the final price is with shipping and everything. And I said, I'll be installing it. I says, and then just give me the final price. And they told me $2,400 on Bercomac. That was a list price or something like that. And I waited, and the guy never called me back. I waited for 2 weeks, and the guy never called me back. So then I was like, what the heck? So I called down to Shruggy Brothers again, and I said, hey, remember me? I talked to you about this? And he's like, yeah. I says, I talked to them. This is the model number they gave me. Can you give me a price and give me availability? He said, no problem. We hung up. He called me back 5 minutes later. Said, hey, it's Canada. It's after noon on Friday, and I guess they're closed. They said that they close at noon on Fridays. And he goes, I just want to let you know. He said, I'll get to it first thing on Monday. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So Monday morning came around. He called me up, and he's like, hey, got word from him. It's available. Everything else, we can get it coming. He says, I get a good deal with them. I can get a price break for you. He goes, I know your mom and dad really well. He goes, I know the machine. He says, I'll get you a price break. He says, the shipping and everything, we'll see what we can work out and everything else to cover that. And he kind of gave me a general range. And I said, go for it. Guy called me up 3 days later and said, hey, your unit's here. I was like, what? It was super fast. And what he did is he actually gave me a big discount on the unit. And then the shipping, he got a deal from Bercomac where they covered half of it. Some kind of special thing they had, some deal. And then he said, since we know we've dealt with your mom and dad so many years, he says, we're going to cover half the shipping too. So it reduced the shipping to like $100. It was super cheap. And they cut me a good deal on this thing. So I got this whole thing. It has to be mounted on here. I have no idea how it is. I went down to Wisconsin, and it's been sitting down there for a couple weeks, like almost 3 weeks, two weeks, something like that. And I've been waiting to go get it. And I thought, why go make a special trip if I'm going out for Thanksgiving? Then all this stuff happened with my wife with work, and she couldn't go. But I still had to go. And this was the main reason to get this, because we got about 16, 18 inches of snow. So needs to get cleaned up. The boys all went out there and shoveled it all and stuff, but we got more coming. So let's take a look, see what's inside here. So this was all wrapped up really nice. Plastic. But there was crazy wind down there. And some really crazy wind that was happening down in Wisconsin. And the plastic all pretty much ripped off. I'm looking at it with this here. Doesn't look like that got bent. Yeah, it didn't do no damage. I think I did that. I put the strap across there. And after driving a little ways, I saw the strap was loose, and I tightened it back up, and I saw it go down in there. So I think it broke that. So it is belt driven. It is a belt-driven snowblower, but the cool thing about it is it has a power lift on it. I think it's like a winch. I don't know where it is. Probably up in there or something. I don't know how this all works. I got to figure this all out. But it has power lift, so there's going to be a button that's going to be mounted on the dash, and then a wire ran down, and I push that button up and down, and it'll raise it up and down automatically. I still think it has a crank. I think that's what this lever is right here. This metal lever. Don't think it's bent. That lever there hooks up to it, and you crank it, and that turns the chute. You can see it in there. So, I said the instructions are in the box. I don't know, so some big rod. Looks like here's the drive belt. I'll have to figure out what belt that is. A bag full of parts. Looks like a small thing. A small piece of paper for instructions. And then this will be the pulley drive that's going to get mounted underneath there to take the place of the lawnmower deck, and then the belt will connect onto there. So this is the other box. I have no idea what these pieces and parts are. Oh, here we go. I just, some other part in there. Here we go. I just found it. Oh yeah, right there for Cub Cadet 2000 series lawnmowers. It's a subframe and a drive mechanism. Ooh, and it's getting two little reflectors too. A bag full of bolts. And then that there is an electric winch. And that mounts on there, and that's what raises it up and down. Okay, here's some kind of rheostat thing that gets hooked into there. I don't know where the switch is. That's probably in here. Oh yeah, right here. It's got a little, it's like a toggle switch. Hopefully it's just not all the way up or all the way down. So I need to unbox all this stuff, get all the wood off, get everything all separated and laid out. And then I'll have to get the lawnmower deck off and start going from there and start figuring out what I got to do here. All right, guys. So we got the owner's manual here. And this is the English one. I think it comes with a French-Canadian one too. Some other language, I don't know. It's pretty much just a lot of pictures, so I almost think it doesn't matter about words and stuff. But I actually think that the biggest part of it is going to be wiring. So I got to wire in a bunch of different things. All kinds of different boxes and switches and all kinds of different stuff. So I think the first step is going to be to take the mower deck off. Mower deck comes off. It says you don't need to take the mower deck off for this step, but don't leave it on for the winter, so I might as well take it off now. But I have it all laid out here and stuff. That down there is the chute. That's all the equipment for the chute. It does have a manual crank to turn the chute. It's not a big deal. It'd be kind of nice to have a little electric motor on there, but who knows? This is going to be the part that attaches underneath the lawnmower to take the place of the lawnmower deck. This will hook up to the drive system underneath there, the clutch and everything. And then I'm guessing that the belt, probably here or something like that, that drives the snowblower. And then it's a bunch of different pieces and parts and metal pieces and stuff. And then this electric winch mounts underneath there. And that's what's going to raise the snowblower up and down. And then it's all this wiring. It's this big modular switch controller thing. This is some kind of modular thing. There's a whole bunch of wiring and stuff. And this, I don't know, it has an extra cable. So, and then pieces and parts and stuff, and they even give you a little tiny light tester. Cheapest little light tester, but that works fine. Give you a little light tester for finding the ignition wire on there. And then they give you these too, these little reflectors. I'm guessing you're supposed to put these on the side of it or something. I don't know why they just wouldn't put those on at the factory. But I got this thing all opened up and everything. And it is very, very smooth. It's a very smooth unit. I don't know if it has oil in here or not. I'll check that before it goes. Looking over, it looks very nice. The only things I'm kind of disappointed in a little bit is that these bearings that are in the end here, I wish they were greasable. I always think that shows a high quality when you have greasable fittings. You know, they're sealed and stuff. I just think it's better to have greasable. A lot of people, they don't do that, and then they're like sealed and you just kind of use them, and when they go out, you just replace them. But greasable ones will last forever as long as you keep them greased. It's just people forget to grease them, so I think they kind of got away from that. I don't know. But that's that. And I thought this was kind of neat too. This is a guard. It has a little thumb nut thing here, screw deal. and then this whole cover lifts off. I don't even know if you guys are going to see this. It looks so dark on the camera. But you got your main pulley here and everything that turns it all. And you got your belts that goes up, runs your belts. But the tensioner is right here. So you run your belt across there to change the belt. And then you just, boom, and that locks it in with the tension. And then you put your cover back on. A lot easier than what the Craftsman was. That thing was kind of a pain in the butt. Changing belts on it. I'll tell you that right now. So I think what I'm going to do right now is get to work and drop the deck off of this thing. Get the deck off of it and get it out of my way so I can have a little more room to work more clearly. Alright guys, I have the mower deck off. And I'll tell you right now, that mower deck is the heaviest mower deck I've ever encountered in my life. I actually had to get one of the sons out here. I actually got the bigger, more muscular son out here to help me. The thing's probably 250 pounds. But it's out. It's solid steel. So I have to mount, and this is really strange because these are metric bolts. But then these are standard bolts, and these came with the kit from Canada. But this bumper right here mounts on this. And it goes right through these holes. I believe I can still keep this bumper. It's got like this big folding bumper on it. And I would actually like to keep it on there. And I like it because I have teenage boys and, well, they like to run into things. Goes right on there. I think it'll work. Ooh, may have to trim that. The back fits, but the front doesn't. I don't know if I can move that up. No, I can't. It doesn't. This little notch right here on this piece does not clear in there. This is the bumper right here that I'm talking about. This whole thing, it folds back and goes up and protects the whole front of this tractor. You can even see somebody's hit something here. But it's really nice and sturdy. And I do believe this was an add-on. Because I've seen these tractors on trying to look for snow blowers on these things. And I have never seen them on these on them. On like the XT1 and XT2s. But this one here, it has it on it. So I like to kind of keep it on there if I can. Probably my mom got it because my dad was driving it. That's probably the reason why. I'm going to get my angle grinder, knock out some of that metal. This is the lawnmower deck. And a lot of times they're made out of like thin steel, the decks are, and then where the pulleys are mounted and stuff, it usually they bend it and fold it and crease the steel to make it strong in that area to hold it. This is not. This is solid steel. This whole thing, I mean, this thing is super heavy. It's this thickness right here, the whole deck. And you feel up underneath there, it's all one piece and it's all fully welded in the corners and everything. And then up inside there where the blades are inside are running, there's another 1/8 inch piece of steel that goes around and curves around each blade. So if a blade comes off, it just you know, goes in that spot. But this thing is a heavy deck, which is, I take it the reason why this thing has hydraulic lift. Instead of saying it has a hydraulic lift, when you're running it, you just push that button and it goes and picks it up. Maybe it's electric. I don't know. I think it's hydraulic though. And it picks up the deck and lower, because if it had a handle that you picked up, it'd take everything you had. All right, I'm going to get to work, cut that little notch a little bit bigger, see if I can get that to sit flat. Oh, actually, no. It's not. I don't know. It's almost like it's hitting on this bolt right here. I think it is. Can't remove it. That's where the spring is. So I'm thinking about cutting this head down so it's narrower. Let's see if that'll work. Yes, it will. Now I have clearance. It's okay. Oh yeah, that's nice. There's it's just a tiny bit of clearance in there. I can just see a spot of light in between that I just cut. All right, the bracket's on there. Now I gotta do the other side. All right, guys. So we got the other bracket on. So now we gotta mount this. Trying to figure out where I want the wires to go. Not really sure at this moment. There it goes. Get one on that side. Put one on this side. I dislocated my thumb. I was working on my mother-in-law's car. She has a Chevy Traverse. And her headlight was out. So I was like, oh, I'll just change the headlight bulb for you quick. She's like, oh, thank you. So I went and got no headlight bulb for her. Just got to screw off a cap and plug the wires and pull out the bulb and put a new one in, right? Oh no. That car is such a pain in the butt. You have to take tons of stuff apart. I was trying to cheat a little bit. There's this metal crossbar.
And if I stuck my fingers down, I could feel the cap that had me twisted up when I was trying to do it, and I got it off. And then I was like, if I could just get my hand in it further, and I pushed it in, and I got it in, and then I couldn't get my hand back out. It was stuck in between there. And I had to use everything I can. I pulled my hand out, and I actually dislocated my thumb. And it has been killing me. But guess what? I got another one. There we go. That's mounted on. So this here spring goes let's see it this way. Yeah. So it goes over this bar back here. Should be able to. Oh, is that tight spring? There we go. It's like so. So I guess it stays locked. So the snowblower, you drive into it, it comes in, pushes this up, and then the bar goes in here, and then this comes down and locks in so that it can't pull off. The little spring keeps it, and then unlock, you just push it back while somebody drives backwards. Works good. You guys want to see something crazy? I'm trying to get the light. So you see the oil filter there? See the size of that oil filter? Okay. I'm going to show you, that's the engine oil filter. Now I'll show you the transmission one. Look at the size of that thing. That thing's huge. It's like a F350 almost. Well, probably more than F250 oil filter. Thing is humongous. Yeah. Probably before I put the deck on there, I'll probably change out the transmission fluid and everything. This thing does have a cool feature to it. It actually has a differential on it. So, you know, on lawnmowers, when you go up a hill, one tire turns. And a lot of times the tire on the bottom of the hill stays, but the top tire doesn't. So it's like your weight goes off. They actually have this here. You push this button down and you pull that over, and that locks the differential. Now it's like a straight axle. So both tires turn. That's pretty cool, actually. Never seen a lawnmower like that. This thing also has power steering. The thing just cranks so easily. It's the reason why my parents got it, because they don't like lawnmowers that are hard to turn. They just like them easier, and so it's the main reason why they got this one. It's because it has power steering. So it looks like there's a couple brackets. One that holds I think it's the handle that you turn the chute with, which I can't really understand why you don't put a little electric motor on there. But, and then the other side, it says it's a cab support. I think I'm going to install these. I don't have a cab for this tractor. But I could sure see it. It'd be nice. I mean, because usually when I go blow snow, I mean, I come back in and look like a snowman. You know, it's no big deal. It's just snow. It doesn't bother me, but wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I don't know. I might look and see how much they are. But I think I'm going to save this for tomorrow. I'm going to jump back on this tomorrow, and I'll do those two brackets. And then it's starting to put in the winch control.
the switch, and connecting all the wires, and I got to find the wiring harness, do all that stuff, and connect to the battery. So the wiring is going to be a little bit. So I think that I'm going to call it for tonight, because I actually had to run to the church and snowplow, and that took me 2 hours. I think it's like 10 o'clock at night now. The guys, I'm in charge of the snow plowing, and the guys who were doing it on the day that I was gone when it snowed, they didn't do the greatest job. So I had to go in there and clean it up, because tomorrow's Sunday. I don't want it to be a mess. Look at the size of the exhaust on this thing too. It's crazy. Look at the size of that thing, that pipe coming out of there. That's probably two to almost 2.5, somewhere in there. That's a big pipe. I don't know. I've seen a lot of Kohler 25 horse engines. I've never seen one with an exhaust pipe that big. Yeah, fancy. Well, guys, I've got the other brackets mounted on there. This is going to be for the crank handle right here to go through, give it support for turning the chute. I don't know. I kind of looked online. I think there's might be something I could do about putting an electric motor on there. It'd be kind of nice. And then if you get a cab for the tractor to protect you in the snow and all this stuff, keep you out of that, there's a rod that's going to go in here that holds the cab down here. It actually replaces this plate right on the frame, and that plate hangs down there so that when you bring the lawnmower deck up, it goes against that and doesn't go any higher. I do believe that this has an electric motor in it that raises the deck up and down. I don't think it's hydraulic, but it comes up and it will hit that, so it doesn't come up too high. I think it is what it is. It limits it. So that side is on. I did look online, and the cab for this thing is $200. I actually think I might order one. Why not? So I think I might actually order it and get it, and that way it goes on there and be nicer. But this goes on this side, and so pretty well thought out. Replace that plate, which was the stopper right here. And these handles right here, you can see on the thing, it's got like a cutout on it, and this one goes down and it's like ½ inch away from hitting it, and this one is a little bit further back. See, it's pretty thought out. So now it's all into electrical. I got to wire things all up and everything, so I have to get into that. All right, guys, we got the wiring. It's all ran down along the frame. They're all zip tied up against things and everything. Coming up in here, and that's where I got all the modules and all that stuff done. Got it all mounted onto the tractor up inside here, so it's all inside there and protected. And then I got the switch right here. So if I turn the key on now, so if I do it now, see, it doesn't do anything. And I think I have it mounted backwards to what they do, what they say. They say pushing up should make it go up, and pulling down make it go down. I'm not opposite way, because I'm used to tractors and stuff, and if you like hydraulics, you want something to go up, you pull back on it and it goes up. So if you turn the key on, see, and then it works. So I have mounted it that way because that's the way I'm used to. Like hydraulics, you pull back and then the bucket or whatever will go up, whatever piece you have hooked up to it. So that's the way I'm going to hook it up to it. And I may write on here up and down or something like that, but I cannot put this here guard across. This actually goes up on top of here. Let's see, so it'll go this way, and it goes right in between here, just like this, and it's supposed to slide back in there, and then there's a bolt on each side that goes in there. The problem is that this mechanism right here is this piece that's down here, and there's some bolts on the bottom of it, and I cannot get it back in there far enough and slide it in there to get the bolts that are on the side to get started. So I'm just going to leave it off. This has protection to it, so I think it'll be just fine. I'm not sure what this is right here. I'm not sure about that. Probably come out. I was talking about it later or something. But that's all done. So now I am mounting the undercarriage. So I've been trying to figure out, the book is kind of crazy, and I'm not sure if you guys could see it, but it just says put a bolt through the hole, and it's this here bolt, and it's got like a spacer, and they want you to put it through there and then this is going to hook onto this little spacer. It's going to go around it, and then but it doesn't tell you which hole. And there's there's 1, 2, 3 over here, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 over here. Over there, there's 4 and 6, but there's only 2 in the front and 4 in the back. They're not the same. It doesn't tell you which holes, what series of holes. So what I did is I figured out that these brackets is where this thing will go up in. And so then I just put the front where it is, and then I rotated it up into position, and it's actually going to be the first hole in this whole thing. So I got to put those bolts in there so you can see what they're doing here. They're hooking onto here. But this here is the lift for the moor deck, and it's a hydraulic, but it has an electric motor hooked up to it. So I don't think it's a hydraulic. I think it has like some teeth or something in there that goes in and out or something like that, some kind of spline or something. So it's an electric motor that runs this thing. It's kind of cool. It's pretty neat how it's made up like that. All right, so now we could put this undercarriage all in here. Before we do that, there is a little set screw down here. Oh, really? My battery. It's getting low on my flashlight. Always happens when you get underneath something. Alright, so I'm going to slide that all the way in so it's all the way loose. But then this should go up. I may have to take off that plastic clip for this wire harness. That, and it just hooks in. Oh, let's get that thing. There we go. And then we just put this big long pin through there. There it goes. There we go. So that's in there. Ooh, it just came unhooked. All right, so now I gotta feed this. I think I'm gonna leave it off. Get as much room as I can up there. Then I go feed it around the 2 pulleys up in the front and up onto the clutch. So this is the tensioner right here, and there's a set screw type thing in here, and you can see I got it set back a ways here, and I think that's enough. The belt's pretty dang nice and tight. It's got some springs, got tension, so it's going to be able to spring back and forth if it needs to. So I'm just going to tighten up the set screw at this location. There we go. Nice and tight. I think that belt will be fine. So now the only thing I'll have to do is the hook up. I gotta put a zip tie on that wire so it doesn't get caught in something getting ripped off. It's the wire that does the lift of the deck to that ram. So I'm gonna put a zip tie on that, and then it's time to throw the snowblower on. So guys, I ended up installing the Chute. The directions in this thing, the manual, it's just like pictures. And so trying to figure out, there's a couple pieces that go inside this, and I finally figured it out. It took me about 3 tries, and I was like, I'm not taking it back apart. There's a plastic piece that fits on top of there, and then there's a plastic piece that goes on the bottom of these teeth, and there's bolts all go up in there. But you gotta put this thing on backwards, the Chute facing backwards, and you gotta lock it in, put it down, and then turn it, and that holds it on there. So now we can put on this bar. Can't really attach it because I don't have a snowblower attached. But this bar just slides up in there, and then this little pin here goes in like so. And then you just slide it together. There's a hole in here for a cotter pin. You just gotta find that. Here it is. So there's different spots on here that you can attach it when it goes in further to get it inside the cab or whatever. But now I should be able to crank this. And see, then it cranks the shooter on. The one thing that I did notice that you have to actually get off and loosen this knob to redirect the chute, which mine did not have. Mine had a separate, like a cable hooked up to it that I could do it from the tractor seat. So, which was nice because if I turned one way and the wind was blowing that way, I could aim this down so it wasn't blowing so much. And then if I wanted to blow it far away, then I would aim it up and blow it out. But if the wind was coming this way, then I would shoot it down so it didn't come back at me. Not gonna have this, but I am gonna order the cab for the stretch, so it's not a big deal. All right, guys, I think that I am ready to actually put this thing on. So should be okay. Put that in there like so. And then just push back. That side went in. And that side did. Okay, so it's locked in. I believe now I need to put the belt on. Alright guys, so it is time to put this belt on. So I'm guessing goes over that. This tensioner could go down. So the belt goes down and around. And we should be able to pull the tensioner up. Wow. I think it's because now it's actually off the pulley down here. Well, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to show you guys this, but this is a shackle here. So this is the winch for the cable off the winch. And basically, you put this around, and it comes with this here little pin thing here. And you put this on. It says to make sure to put the head down, which seems kind of silly because if it come loose, then it would fall up. So I'm going to do something like this. Break it on good. And now I'm going to go get a piece of wire. There's a little hole in there. I'm going to put a piece of wire in this and wrap it around here. So if it comes out. Alright. So this, there's like a hook down here that goes around. And then you got to get a little hair clip down on there to hold it. And then the other end goes on here. That. All right, let's see if it goes up. Well, it goes up to there and it stops. And that's what it's supposed to do. It's hitting on the bottom there. There's a stop down there. There's a button. There it goes down. Put it down. I see a problem. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna raise it up a little. Can you guys see it now? This side over here is higher than that side, which makes perfect sense because the cable attaches over on this side. So it's picking it up crooked. That needs to be right in the center. So now if you can see what's going on here. So this pulley, the cable goes through this. And then this little clevis goes and bolts onto there. And then this hooked on to this side over here like that. And then you put a clip in there that made sure it didn't come out. And so if you look at it, what it's doing is it's hooking to this side of the blower. And so it's twisting it, it's kinking it. So what I did is I made a hole right here, big enough to get this head through. And if I slide this down through, it's kind of difficult to get it in, but it's just barely big enough. I wanted to make sure I didn't take out too much material. That goes in. See, and that'll hang just like that. And then I can put that pulley, put it in there, and then screw that little clevis pin in there and put that piece of wire on there and make sure it doesn't fall out. And I still have 3/4 of an inch or so from this to the bottom of this pulley, so it's not going to hit. And this way, it'll be right here, which is right in line with the center of this pulley, which is in line of the center of this. So it should lift it up straight. We got her all set up, and you can see the pulley now is straight in line with that shaft. So it is good there. And now if we lift it, it still does go a little bit crooked. It's not as much as it was before. It still does a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if it needs, I should have maybe, there's no way really to test it. I probably maybe could have went past center, but I don't know. But it's a lot better than what it was. When I go this down, see now it's touching on this side. And the other side is maybe a 1/4 inch off the ground. So it's close. It's real close. I don't know. Might be some more experimenting in the future and stuff, but we're going to go with this. Well, everything is put back together. Give her a shot. And to finish off this kind of thing here, I still have to mount lights on there. But to finish this off, I actually have some tire chains. I don't know if I'm going to need weight. I did not have weight on the Craftsman. It was fine here. I live on a hill. When I would go out on a hill, it would kind of spin and stuff, but it would make it up with the chains. I'm not really sure I need weight. We'll see. I do have some weights out at the land that my brother had on a small tractor he had, and he was throwing them away, and I'll take them. If I have to, I can make some kind of deal that I can weld a bracket on the back of there and hang those weights on there. But I got these off of Amazon. The ones I saw that were for the Cub Cadet and everything, they were like $200 or something like that. And I found these and got them off of Amazon, and I think they were like $50 or something like that. And that's what these are. I don't really see the big deal, but they also made these too. And usually what I do is when I put the tire chains, I'll just put a bungee cord crisscross across the tire chains to pull them tight so they don't come off or come up and hit the fenders. This here, I guess, goes in the center of it, and you can hook them on there, and it'll keep them all tight with these little springs and stuff. So kind of fancy. This one's tighter. I don't know why, but they'll probably get loose, and I'll have to tighten them a little bit. But they're on there. I like those little things in there. They really help. A lot better than bungee cords. The bungee cords, I have had them. That's what wrecked my last chute. Is I had a bungee cord in there, and after time they get cold, they crack, and it fell off, and then I went snowballing and I ran over it, and it shot the bungee cord up through there. And the other one was a plastic chute, and that thing, that metal clip flew up there and it broke a hole in it. All right, so now all I got to do is put some lights on it. We turn the key on, boom, LED lights. It always helps because instead of having it on the tractor facing out like this because you're blowing snow and everything, it helps to be out in the front of it. You can see a lot better. Well, guys, that thing throws some snow. It's a lot more than what my Crossman did. I actually was hitting this pile right here behind me. And, you know, the kids, they have shoveled it all up. They didn't get it all the way to where the markers are. And I think they piled the snow over, so it kind of bent the markers over. I actually hit that one. I had to back up and get everything. But I was hitting here, and it was blowing all the way to the road almost. That's a long ways down there. That thing was launching it. So this thing really hums. Chute are really good. At first, when I first started, tires were spinning. And I was like, oh, come on. And then I remember I had a differential, and I locked the differential in, and it just mows through. It just plows right through that stuff. Eats its way right through there. So that's pretty cool, have the differential locked. So, like I said, the boys, they shoveled all this and everything. I just need to clean up on the edges and stuff, and I got to clean up here by this Jeep and stuff too. Got to clean up on that. I usually park my snowmobile trailer here, and then I could load snowmobiles or my snow bike out of it whenever I want to go, but I'm not actually going to keep them here anymore. I got the land out there. That's where we're going to be doing all the snowmobiling, so I don't see the reason why I'd have mess around with a trailer. I could just leave them out there. So we'll probably just leave the Jeep parked there. So that's what we're doing from there. So I'm gonna move my truck here and move it back over to the other side and clean all this side up. Not too much to do yet, and get moving here. That thing really screams. It's a little different though. I'm kind of looking for different levers, and on the Craftsman, the hydrostatic lever was over on the right side. And so I constantly, every time I go to back up or something, I grab for that lever, and then I keep grabbing for the thing that lifts this and stuff. I actually think that they make an add-on to control the chute for turning and the top piece. I'm gonna look into it. I did look into what I saw online and stuff for the cover, and it was like 218 bucks. And I went and looked at that, and it says, oh, it's $189 today, and it's on special or something. And I went and looked at it, right down through it. I don't think it comes with the metal frame of it. I think it's just a new cover. All the rest of them are like $400 and something. I don't know. I don't see a purpose in it. I think the wife is gonna just buy one though. She's like, nah, I don't want you out there in the cold. I don't know, whatever. But I don't mind it. I hope that everybody out there is having themselves a great day, great night as you watch this here video. And if you're not, we can certainly just try that all over again tomorrow.
God bless you guys, and I will catch you guys next time. The next video, I will show you the rest of the stuff that I went to Wisconsin for, and I did get the new blower motor for the plow truck. So, but I still missing 2 little parts, but I think they're going to come in today or maybe tomorrow. Because I got to get out there and I got to clean a lot of snow out there so I can get working. So I'm going to clean up my mess that I made from all this and everything, clean up the rest of the snow a little bit here, and move on to the next project. Catch you next time. Bye.